The Pixel 6 is the most intriguing phone Google has made in years. Not only is it a return to premium design with eye-catching colors and up to a 120Hz screen, it's also powered by the company's first mobile processor, Tensor. Google is promising serious improvements in AI performance and photography, including better voice recognition and assistant features. The Pixel 6 review continue after this. So, Google also finally upgraded the Pixel's camera hardware instead of just relying on its processing smarts. That's not to say it's overlooked software this year. The Pixel 6 is stuffed to the brim with special photography modes. The best thing about the Pixel 6 series, though, is the surprisingly low starting price, and it makes the few drawbacks easier to forgive. And for the design, I'm torn over the Pixel 6 design. Compared to the last few generations, these are an arresting change of pace. The two-tone palette is pretty, especially on the smaller Pixel 6, which has more fun color options. It also has a flat screen with a matte finish on its sides, while the Pro has pleasantly curved, shiny edges and feels a lot like the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Google's horizontal camera bar here is polarizing. I don't mind it, but I know many people think it's hideous. In its defense, it not only houses larger sensors, but it also makes for a more symmetrical design than the corner camera bumps on every other flagship. And as a bonus, it doesn't wobble when resting on a tabletop. Aesthetics and style are all subjective, but no one can argue with hard numbers. At 207 grams, or 7.3 ounces, the Pixel 6 is heavier than the Galaxy S21 and the iPhone 13, though not by much. The Pixel does have a larger 6.4-inch screen, though, and I wish it was smaller since previous generations, and other companies, all offer a one-hand-friendly size. Meanwhile, the Pixel 6 Pro weighs 210 grams, which is much lighter than the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Galaxy S21 Ultra. And for display, audio and fingerprint sensor. Both the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro have lovely OLED screens. The standard model has a 6.4-inch 1080p panel that runs at 90 Hz, while the Pro uses a 6.7-inch display that goes between 10 Hz and 120 Hz depending on what you're doing. Most flagship phones have adopted OLED by now, and in general offer excellent image quality. The new frontier for displays is refresh rate, and the Pixel 6 Pro's 120 Hz screen is as buttery as the iPhone 13 Pro and Galaxy S21 Ultras. Scrolling through Twitter, Instagram and articles on the internet is satisfyingly fast. The Pixel 6's 90 Hz refresh rate does make it feel a little slower, but you won't notice if you haven't been spoiled by 120 Hz screens. If you're upgrading from an older phone, the 90 Hz panel will be an obvious improvement. Plus, this thing costs just $600, so no gripes here, especially since the iPhone 13 is $200 more and runs at 60 Hz. For the cameras, Google's software has helped it make the most of the outdated cameras on its older Pixels, but this time around the company endowed its flagships with much better hardware. The Pixel 6 has a 50-megapixel main sensor that uses pixel binning to achieve a resolution closer to 12 megapixels, that are bigger and let in more light. Accompanying this is a 12-megapixel wide-angle camera with a 114-degree field of view, and the Pro adds a 48-megapixel telephoto lens to the mix that has 4x optical zoom. It also has a 11.1-megapixel wide-angle selfie camera that shoots in 4K, while the Pixel 6 has an 8-megapixel sensor that tops out at 1080p. These sensors aren't just sharper, they are also bigger with larger pixels, which makes for brighter, cleaner photos. In almost every situation, the Pixel 6 Pro's photos were basically on par with the iPhone 13 Pro, and the comparison here boils down to personal preference. They both produce crisp, colorful pictures. Apple tends to deliver more saturated images with a green-yellow cast, while Google has a more neutral look. The iPhone struggles with fringing when shooting anything against a light source, but it also renders rosier skin tones compared to the Pixel, which washes my subjects out in low light. That's disappointing, by the way, given the Pixel 6 also features Google's real tone processing. It's part of the company's image equity program, which is built on research and feedback from photographers and people of color to get more accurate exposure for different skin tones. This isn't a feature you can turn off, so it's hard to see how effective it is. All I can say is, I've photographed people of varying skin tones in my testing and have yet to encounter any serious issues or obvious improvements. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment the country you are watching from. See you in my next video.